from this area and our delegation of speakers, if y'all would come on up. Got it? Well, everybody take their places. You may sit down, but I'm going to ask you to stand up anyway. So go ahead and stand up for the presentation of the colors by the Allendale Fairfax Junior ROTC.
Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Thank you. Very nice. Let me welcome everyone today. Please come on up and grab a seat. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Danny Black, and I'm the President and CEO of the Southern Carolina Alliance. We delve in economic development, and we also delve into stuff like this today. And Congressman, it's a pleasure as always to have you here to celebrate the event today with us. We'll be introducing everyone else along the way to make some remarks, but I do want to call on someone right now that's as old as I am, a little bit older, I think, but he leads our state delegation in Columbia and represents the entire county of Allendale, Representative Lonnie Hosey. Lonnie, would you come up and say hello?
Good afternoon, everyone, and to Mr. Danny Black, the presiding here, and to Congressman Jim Clyburn and USC-Salkehatchie, Chris Neesmith, our dean, and all of you who are here assembled, superintendent of the schools here in Allendale County. I think there's others on the stage. I'm just so sorry that I had a little eye surgery, and I can't make out everybody, but I'm here. Thank God for that. Something happened to me since COVID. The last time you saw me, I had black hair. COVID has made my hair white. Well, that was a joke. You didn't buy it. All right. It's just so happy to see all of you, and I welcome you here to Allendale, to USC-Salkehatchie, and to all you who have assembled to hear our congressman speak about something that is a great demand for our area. I'm so happy that we have him leading the charge to get some things done, and we will follow through after he speaks about what we need to do. I'm not the speaker, so I'm not going to go any further to say anything. But I do know as I sit in the House of representatives in our state legislature, there are a lot of things that we need here in South Carolina, and especially the rural area. So we're just happy to have our congressman here. We're happy to have you here, and make it a frequent kind of thing. Don't just go away and stay until the next program. Come see us. Come participate. And come with something that you can suggest and add to make our area different, because it is our responsibility to do it. Thank you, Mr. Black. Thank you all who here are assembled today. And I'm going to take my seat, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of this Friday afternoon. May God bless you, may God keep you, and may heaven smile upon you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. From the state side, Lonnie signs the check, so please thank him for that as well. Again, we welcome everyone here, and we want to make sure you understand what a big day this is, not only for Allendale, but for our region. It's an opportunity to bring fast, reliable broadband and open up this area to what we really need. These kids suffered last year with the pandemic, not being able to do some things because we didn't have internet services in a lot of our area, and hopefully that's going to change starting today. There's a lot of brilliant people that are going to be talking about that in a minute, so I'm going to skip over that. I want to talk about a couple of things and identify some folks. Our elected officials who are all in support here today. On the front row up here is the Allendale County Council. The chairman's going to be speaking in a minute, but the vice chairman is here. Bill Robinson is also with us. The county administrator, if I can hold these sheets down, county administrator are all sitting up here. Please thank them for what they do. Town council and city council mayors and members are here as well, and we appreciate you being here. Nan Ed is going to be speaking in a few minutes from the Office of Regulatory Staff. I'm not going to go through all the folks that will be speaking yet, but I do want to recognize Frank Rainwater from the South Carolina Office of Revenue. James Smith, I saw James walk in from my University of South Carolina. And he will be recruiting these students to be up there next year. Plus, you're going to be having a winning football team, right? We'll see. We also want to thank ETV. These guys are live streaming, so the mistakes that we make today are going to be banned out to everyone in the region. So if they laugh at you, just remember that. Right now, it's my pleasure to introduce our congressman. He's our keynote speaker today. And it's a pleasure to have him down and taking out his time to visit with us today. I'm not going to go through a lengthy thing, only just a few highlights because you know his history. Congressman Clyburn is now the majority whip and the third ranking Democrat in the United States House of Representatives. For you young folks, that is a tremendous honor and a tremendous level. He calls a lot of shots in this government to help us in this area. When Jim came to Congress in 1993 to represent South Carolina's 6th Congressional District, he was elected co-president of his freshman class, and he quickly rose through leadership ranks. He was subsequently elected chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus and later chair of the House Democratic Caucus. As a national leader, he has championed rural and economic development in many of our initiatives that have become law. Today's celebration is just the latest of his many accomplishments on behalf of the people of the 6th Congressional District and the state of South Carolina. Please join me in welcoming our congressman and my friend, Congressman Jim Clyburn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Danny. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate being here today. Now, I've been listening to Lonnie Hosey for a long, long time. We are great friends. We go back a long ways. We share membership in the fraternity, and you can see him flying the colors today. I thought maybe I had shown up at the wrong meeting, and I was a fraternity meeting or something, but thank you for your friendship, Lonnie. Now, Lonnie, the last time you saw me, I was sporting these glasses that I got in my pocket. Now, the reason I'm not wearing these glasses is because I had a good surgeon working on my eyes a few weeks ago, and I don't need them anymore to see you. But now, I want you to know that my mom's was a beautician, and so I know why your hair was black the last time we saw you. But it's good to see you here today. I've had some notes prepared for me, and looking at the history of this project and how we got to where we are today. You've heard the thank yous to all of the collaborators who came together to make this project a reality, and I thank all of them. And you know them, and I won't spend a lot of time going through who they are. Some of them you hear from a little bit later. But I want to share with you really what got us to this place today. Several years ago, when we were having the little controversy that surrounds the Confederate battle flag, and the tennis player, Serena Williams, was under contract to play in a tennis tournament being held down in Charleston. Well, she, under her contract, had to play in that tournament, yet she felt compelled to honor the NAACP's efforts, which have finally been successful due to a lot of people, to take the Confederate battle flag off of the State House. So I knew and still know her accountant very well. He and I have enjoyed a long friendship and really spend most Christmases together down at Hilton Head. He called me, and he said to me that I've got a real problem that I need your help on. And he shared with me what Serena's problem was. And I sat down with the leadership of the NAACP and others here in the state to see could we work through that problem. And we did. We were successful in mitigating the issues surrounding her coming to Charleston, South Carolina. And I said to Larry, her accountant, I said, now, Larry, I need something from you. And he said, what is that? I said, now, I have a lot of young students in my district who have never attended a professional tennis match. I want about 100 of them to go down to the family circle down on Daniel Island and attend this tennis match. I said, I think that will be a great experience for them. He said, I think we could work that out. I said, but now there's one other thing I need. I said, I would love for each one of these students that attend the tennis match to have a laptop. And there were going to be 100 students from Scotch Branch High School, and he agreed that he would give them the laptops. Now, I felt very proud of myself. I had done this great thing to provide a great experience for the students of Scotch Branch High School. in Clarendon County, South Carolina. And they were going to be going to this professional tennis match. 90 students and 10 parents. So I went to the superintendent, and I said to the superintendent, look what I have done, and I told her in so many words, I'm waiting for her to give me this great congratulations. She looked at me with an empty look. And I couldn't figure out what that was all about. So finally she said to me, now what are we going to do with these laptops? I said, well, what I want you to do is put them in the library and let the students check those laptops out just like they check out books and take them home. And then she looked at me and says, okay. Now, what they're going to do with the laptops when they get home? She said, these students don't have the internet at home. Laptops will do them no good. And that's when it struck me. It struck me as to how serious this problem was in rural South Carolina. I'm representing people trying to get one thing or another, and the basic things like being connected to the rest of the world, they did not have at their disposal. And that started me. She told me at the time that only 30% of the students in the entire school district were connected to the laptop. And then I contrast that with my granddaughter, who was a senior at Richland Northeast High School at the time, who I'd had a conversation with a couple of weeks earlier. And you know, like grandfathers do, I'm playing the grandfatherly role, and it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm talking to her about school. And then I said to her, I said, now, Sydney, have you done your homework for today? She says, no, I have not received it yet. I said, what do you mean you have not received it? She said, we get our homework assignment every afternoon via the internet. I contrasted that. Here's my granddaughter at an urban school in Richland County, getting her homework assignment like all the other students in the school via the internet. And down here, just an hour away, in the district that I represent, the students can't get connected to the internet because they don't have the internet at home. That's what drove me into this headlong. And I started researching this stuff, trying to see what I could do. And like many of you remember, when the internet first came online, you remember what we called it? We called it the information highway. It was a way for people to get connected to the rest of the world, and we called it the information highway. And it occurred to me, why don't we treat the information highway the same way we treat the interstate highway? It is much of an infrastructure as any road or any bridge. And when I hear people arguing today that we don't mind doing infrastructure so long as it is traditional infrastructure, I don't want to talk to them, because they don't have any idea about the future of this great country and the future of the world. We cannot treat the interstate highway better than we treat the information highway. These students are deserving of being connected to the world. And COVID-19 has exacerbated all of that. Some students in the congressional district that I proudly represent are on the verge this year of losing a second year of school. Simply because they did not have the internet at home. Those students, when the schools closed, the students who had the internet at home, they were able to stay in touch with education. They could stay in touch with their teachers, and teachers developed online syllabus so they could teach the children. But the ones who did not have the internet did not have any connection with education, and therefore, when the proficiency exams came last year, they were not allowed to go on to the next grade. And let me tell you something, if a 7th or 8th grader misses a second year of school, that student is probably never going to graduate if they were ever going back to school at all. That should not be happening in the richest country in the world. We are here today because the leadership of this county, and I want to congratulate you for putting aside whatever differences you may have had and sitting down with all the collaborators, all of the private sector people, and I want to thank the governor for taking the CARES package and dedicating, if my memory serves, around $50 million for this effort. That is what it's all about. We ought not to be arguing about how much it's going to cost. We need to ask ourselves, how much will it cost if we don't do it? What will it cost to the future of these children if we don't spend this money and connect them to the internet? That's what we ought to be arguing about. So I don't want to talk to people who tell me it's going to cost too much. We got to change our way of thinking. We got to change our way of doing things. And that's why I was so pleased to be here today. Y'all know this is the time of day on a Friday when we aren't in Washington at 1 o'clock. Right about now, I'll be teeing off on the 10th tee. I'm here today because I want to congratulate each and every one of you that put your differences aside to bring all of the resources together so we could get this done. And people keep telling me, well, you know, what we really need is fiber. Yeah? How far off is that? What we need to do is get what we can get done now. When people keep telling me we got to wait on 5G and we ain't got no G, I don't want to talk to them. If I don't have any G at all, give me 2G, 3G, 4G. We'll get the 5G later on. Give me what G's I can get now. And that's what we're doing here. Thank you, Jim. Now, I need to tell you all this. You all may not know this. But about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I think, 3, I don't know. When I really got into this, I got about 30 members of Congress from all over the country together. And we sat down and I formed what we call the House Democrats Broadband Working Group. And we talked about what we could do to make broadband a big part of whatever infrastructure bill that goes forward. And just so you know, and I'll dedicate to you today, if they think they're going to run an infrastructure program through the Congress with nothing but roads and bridges, they got another thing coming. You didn't send me up there to just look at the world pass our students by. When we do this broadband, those 30 people that I pulled together 3 years ago, every one of them are dedicated to making sure that broadband is treated just like the interstate highway when we put this infrastructure program together. It's going to be right front and center. And I want to thank all of you, especially Jim, I brought him up to Washington, sat him down in the conference room with members of the Broadband Task Force. And he gave them his ideas about how we can do the mapping that was necessary. He showed them what we were doing in South Carolina. And for people who talk about South Carolina, let me tell you something. Jim Stritzinger, if I got that name right, I know how to say Jim. He came up and he was the star. There were people who left that room and went back to their respective states. I can name some of them. Went back to Iowa. Went back up to Rhode Island with the information he gave them, and they went to work, and they're all on board now. We are going to have a big, massive broadband program, and it all started right here in South Carolina, rural South Carolina. And so I want to thank you all for having the vision. Now, you all know I was born and raised in the parsonage. And I don't let those fundamental teachings, well, I don't get too far from them. And one of the things I remember my dad preaching about often, where there is no vision, the people perish. We are where we are today because you have demonstrated vision. And because of that vision, these young people and the young people coming after them are going to have better lives. They're going to be better prepared to take on the world. And they, many of them, will do things that many of us at my age group dreamed about. And I just want to close with this. You know, every time I walk into a classroom and I look at a student, sometimes I walk up to a young lady and I don't see who they are. I see Mary McLeod Bethune growing up in Maysville, South Carolina, one of 15 children, the first one of the 15 to ever finish high school. Growing up, going off to Barbara Scotia College up in North Carolina and coming back home to teach, going to Georgia and then to Florida, and with $2.80 in her pocket, started a movement that resulted in what is known today as Bethune-Cookman College. That young lady, in about 2 months, if COVID allows, the state of Florida is doing something that has never been done before. The state of Florida is sending a statue of Mary McLeod Bethune to place in the Capitol building. It will be the first time a state has ever sent a person of color to stand in the statue, as a statue in the Capitol of the United States. Mary McLeod Bethune, a little black girl from Maysville, South Carolina, growing up, one of 15 children. She did not let her circumstances dictate what she would become in life. And we're going to be celebrating her in such fashion. That's what I see when I walk into a classroom. When I see a young man sitting in the classroom, I think about Benny Mays, growing up in little 96, right outside on the suburbs of 96, South Carolina. A little town of Epsom, not even a town. And going off to high school at South Carolina State, and finishing and going to Bates College, and going off to become president of the Morehouse College and to be Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor. That is the man that Martin Luther King Jr. gives the credit for making him who and what he was. He did not let those rules, circumstances in Greenwood, South Carolina, Greenwood County, South Carolina, dictate what he would become. And every time you walk into a classroom and you look at a child, I want you to think about Benny Mays. I want you to think about Mary McLeod Bethune. I want you to know that that child can become things that you and I dream about. All that child wants is a chance. And our job is to give every one of them chances to succeed. And they will make all of us proud. They will make South Carolina proud. They will make these United States of America proud. And so I thank you all for what you're doing here today. And I'm looking forward to these 2 or 3 or 4 G's that we're getting with this, what we call what y'all call the wireless internet. And we're going to grow and grow and grow. It'll soon be fiber. And we'll get 5 Gs and whatever Gs may come after us. But right now, let's use what we got. Thank you.
"5G, Congressman." Thank you very much. As always, you're so inspiring to everyone, and we appreciate that. Now I'd like to introduce the leader of Allendale County Council, the chairman, Mr. Rick Gooding. I want to tell you a little bit about him before he comes up. Obviously, he's a lifelong member of Allendale County. He's a successful business person. He's involved in a lot of things. He sits on our board of directors representing Allendale County. But I guess the most important thing, and the thing that everybody remembers, he is the second voice of WDOG, the big dog here in Allendale County. And you know him more by his voice than his face. But I want you to see his face today. Chairman, please come up.
Thank you, sir. Thank y'all, and wake up, Allendale Fairfax students. I see a lot of you guys nodding off, and I can understand, but look on the bright side. You got to get out of class to come hear these old guys talk, so glad you're here. And this is all about Allendale Fairfax students. This is about you guys. It's not about me or Danny or President, Superintendent. This is about Allendale Fairfax High School students, and you guys getting what you need to make Allendale a better place, because you are the future of Allendale County. It's not us old guys, it's going to be you. And that being said, on behalf of the Allendale County Council, our community, I'd like to thank Congressman Clyburn for all you've done. Our state agencies and private partners who got involved with this pilot project. I mean, we're the first in the state to do this. And I'm like you, I hope it goes into 5G, 10G, whatever's next. And it's very important for these kids, and it's very important for our county, because as of late, we don't get a lot of positive publicity out of Allendale County. We all know that. I'm glad to see the news media here today. We're getting something positive today for Allendale County, and there are a lot of good things that happen in our county. It's a great place to be, and it's going to be a great place for you guys to grow up. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you appreciate what everybody's doing to get you guys on the right track at Allendale County and Allendale County schools. Dr. Gilmore, thank you for what you're doing. Schools are on the right track. I understand we had some excellent results in some STEM contests we just had some winners. We look forward to getting those guys on the radio. And that's pretty much all I got to say. I mean, they want me to talk for 5 minutes. They should have probably got Councilman Robinson up here if they wanted someone to talk for 5 minutes. But I certainly appreciate the opportunity to address you guys, especially you students. Proud of what you're accomplishing in Allendale Fairfax. Congressman Clyburn, again, thank you for what you've done for our community. Danny?
Thank you, sir. Doctor, those are great cheerleaders, by the way. Next up, thank you, Rick. Next up is Dr. Chris Nesmith, the Dean of the University of South Carolina, Salk. And obviously, the doctor has done a great job in helping this university grow, get through the last year of challenge, and is on the right track. And I got to say, Hope you students understand what this campus means to Allendale County. I had a chance, and I'm from Blackville, South Carolina. I had a chance to go to college because of this campus. I'm a graduate of this campus. I went on to Columbia that I talked to Mr. Smith about only because this campus was here, and we do appreciate that. Dr. Nesmith has been very involved in economic development. He has helped us train people to get into economic development, bring new industry into the area, and we appreciate what he's done in his short tenure being here. And with that, Doctor, I wish you'd come on up.
Thank you, Danny. Good afternoon, and welcome on behalf of our entire USC-Salkehatchie community to Representative Clyburn and everyone here today to our beautiful Allendale campus. Just 1 week ago, on this very stage, we awarded 115 associate degrees and 32 bachelor's degrees to students from here in Allendale and all across our 5-county service region, in partnership with USC Palmetto College and our sister USC campuses. Our mission within the University of South Carolina system is to provide access to higher education for students who might not otherwise have that opportunity. That mission is one that every faculty and staff member here takes to heart, and it is why we are so grateful for this initiative and to be a part of this project. The results of this effort will make a difference, and they will be transformative to Allendale and for our students. In our world today, as Congressman Clyburn just said, broadband internet is a vital component of our economy and our infrastructure. It is a necessity, not a luxury. We believe all students in communities deserve to have access to opportunities for higher education and workforce training, no matter what their zip code. We have delivered online education here for many years because it provides the flexibility that many of our students depend on to succeed. But an online education is not advantageous to you if you cannot connect from home. The pandemic further highlighted this need that was severely lacking in our community. And these efforts to rectify that problem will ready us for a brighter and more successful future where we will emerge stronger and better prepared than before. Thank you, Congressman Clyburn, for your leadership and for recognizing the importance of bringing broadband access to Allendale and to other communities here in our state. And thanks also to the state ORS office, especially Nan Ed Edwards, for your efforts to steer funding toward this particular project, and to all the other partners in the project, and especially Jim Stritzinger for pulling us all together. And I'd also like to recognize our team here at Salkehatchie who supported this project to help make it happen. And you can actually see part of the project from here. Just on the other side of this building behind you, you'll see a good view of the SCETV tower on our campus. And right now, equipment that was installed on top of that tower is providing broadband internet to a large portion of our community, and especially downtown Allendale. And we're proud to be a part of this project and the difference that it will make in the lives of Allendale citizens going forward. And we're grateful for the support and efforts of everyone involved in making it a reality. It's wonderful to have you all here on the USC-Salkehatchie campus today to celebrate this achievement together. So thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, sir. Now, I'm having a hard time keeping my hair down. I don't think the Congressman or Mr. Hosey or Dr. Nesmith had that problem. Our next speaker, and this is your leader, so I'm going to get you to give her a round of applause in a minute, but not yet. Dr. Margaret Gilmore is another local celebrity here in Allendale. She was named Superintendent of Allendale County Schools by State Superintendent of Education Molly Spearman in July 2018. Since then, Dr. Gilmore brought transformation to the Allendale School District over the last 2 years. In fact, the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association named Dr. Gilmore as the Superintendent of the Year this past March of this year. Give her a round of applause for that. There's your cheerleaders. She was selected based on her commitment, dedication, and service to the students. student athletes, and the education-based interscholastic programs in the Allendale Fairfax County School District and throughout the state. It's my pleasure to bring up Dr. Gilmore.
Good afternoon. To Congressman Clyburn, it has been my dream to meet you in person for a long, long time. So I'm simply excited that you are here. To South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff, to Representative Hosey, and other distinguished guests, it is such an honor to be part of such a beautiful occasion. First, I want to recognize all the student groups and staff we brought with us from Allendale County School District. That's right, these are our students. Today we have JROTC, cheerleaders, Beta Club from both middle and high school, the National Honor Society, our football and basketball team, Allendale Fairfax Golden Vanguard Marching Band, and other scholars, faculty and staff, our middle and high school and district office staff. Today is a big day in Allendale County Schools, also in the community of Allendale. I have to say that Allendale County School District was honored when we were approached by Mr. Jim Stritzinger last year about starting a broadband launch in Allendale County. As you know, we have struggled for years with internet broadband accessibility. During the COVID-19 pandemic, though we provided our students with hotspots, they still struggled with connectivity. You know this better than anyone, that access to the internet is fundamental in improving student achievement. It opens doors to a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge and educational resources. This broadband initiative is definitely a game changer for the scholars, the teachers, and administrators in Allendale County School District. Why? Because learning is a basic human right. And learning occurs not just in the classroom, but it extends beyond the four walls of the classroom. So what this broadband initiative means for the scholars of Allendale County School District is their ability to access the internet from home, which opens doors to a wealth of information, access to resources, access to classroom assignments from home if given a research project, access to just online content. The sky is the limit. Basically, it improves the quality of education for all of our students who are just so deserving of a top quality education. We are so grateful. Let me say that again. We are so grateful, Congressman Clyburn. We are so grateful for this amazing gift to our students and to our families. Thank you to Congressman Clyburn, South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff, all the broadband project team for making this internet broadband dream a reality for Allendale County School District and the entire Allendale County community. We look forward to the expansion of this project to other parts of our county, such as Fairfax, Sycamore, Martin, Appleton, Groton, St. Mark, and Ulmer. We have a lot of work to do, and I am super excited that we are a part of it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the community of Allendale. We are stronger together. Together we stand, and divided we fall. We are stronger together. This is a great opportunity for us in Allendale County. Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, now it's time to recognize the people that really put this together. The team from Columbia, you always hear Columbia people are coming down to help us. Well, they really did, and they did a great job. The leader of this is our next speaker, Nan Ed Edwards, a 12-year veteran with the Office of Regulatory Staff. She now serves as the agency's second executive director. Ms. Edwards has been with the ORS since 2005, serving as a staff attorney, deputy general counsel, chief counsel, director of legal services before becoming the deputy executive director in 2014. Please join me in welcoming the leader of the team, our partner and a true leader, Dr. Edwards.
You know, I have to say, I feel a little bit as though we all have so much to be thankful for with all the different partners and organizations that came together to make this happen. It's a little bit almost like being at an award ceremony like the Oscars, because I feel like I have to stop and recognize everyone who contributed to this, and it is a long list. First, I have to say we would not be here today without the support of leadership. And the truly monumental efforts of all of our partners. It is Congressman Clyburn, I have to say thank you. It's your dedication to universal broadband, affordable broadband service. And it's your dedication that makes me feel comfortable in saying that not only this project, but other projects like Allendale will happen in South Carolina. So thank you. I also have to say thank you to Governor McMaster. The governor formed Accelerate SC, and it was his vision to set aside some CARES funds for broadband deployment. And it was the members of the South Carolina General Assembly and the governor who made Act 142 happen so that $50 million was set aside for broadband for the state of South Carolina. Now, we were empowered to move quickly, and we were provided flexibility to explore unique opportunities. And without that, we would not be here today. And I have to tell you, one of our mandates of Act 142 was to secure 100,000 mobile hotspots or wired internet service for students because of COVID-19. And I remember very clearly talking to Dr. Gilmore saying, well, gee, it's nice to have that mobile hotspot, but not if you can't get any internet service on it. It's not going to really help our students. And it was through Dr. Gilmore and in working with Jim Stritzinger and the many partners that are here today that we were able to achieve this. And I have to tell you, it was in a very tight time frame. We had a deadline of December 30th. Actually, I gave Jim a tighter deadline than that. I told him he had to have it done by December 18th. And at the time, I think he was a little bit stressed out about making that deadline. But I want to also stop and thank Senator Hugh Leatherman and Representative Merle Smith for their support, Senator Thomas Alexander and Representative Gilda Cobb-Hunter. They provided much guidance and support for all the broadband projects, including this pilot, for which I am very grateful. I want to take a moment and just explain the pilot. This utilizes state-owned assets, the SCETV towers. Again, with Dr. Gilmore and Dr. Chris Nesmith, we would not have been able to pull this together without their support and basically their encouragement all along the way. I also would be remiss if I don't talk to the owner of those ETV towers, Director Padgett. He is the president and CEO of SCETV, and he can tell you more about this project from his perspective, but I have to tell you that without his help and those other partners that are here today who are too numerous for me to mention, this project would not have happened. And this project is really for you. And I very much hope that we can replicate this project across South Carolina. Thank you. Director Padgett.
Thank you, Nanette, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I was reminded of some things as you spoke, Congressman, and I want to thank you for your comments. One of the things that I was reminded of as we get so focused on the day-to-day of making projects like this happen is really what we're building here is infrastructure for the infrastructure. Without this infrastructure, it impedes the progress of other infrastructures that will follow. And so I would say that this is extremely foundational work. And as many have mentioned, thank you for your support and encouragement in this area. One of the other things, too, that I realize as I stand up here and we talk about this today is this is indeed a time to celebrate. This is by all means an accomplishment. As it's been mentioned many times, there are several partners that this project would not have happened without. And so a sincere thank you to everyone that's been a part of this project. But as we stand here and celebrate today, I'm also reminded that it's time to do more work. This is just the beginning of a process. This is just the beginning of a progress that we begin to make here in South Carolina. And there are a lot of other areas that are yet to be reached, and I believe that is where our focus turns to now. And we do so, again, with the support of many, and as many, I think we dedicate ourselves to this work. One of the things that I wanted to be sure to mention today, as we talk about the excitement that surrounds this initiative, is that this is a model that can be replicated. This isn't the only model. This isn't the only solution. We recognize that there's an ecosystem that needs to be built to perpetuate this work, and that's the task that we've set about doing. This is just one example of many products and many services that can be provided to help bridge the digital divide that exists not only in South Carolina but throughout our country. At SCTV, we know we have a unique set of resources at our disposal. And we believe that it is our responsibility to be innovative and to attempt to provide any advantage we can by utilizing these unique assets in any way possible. Again, I'd like to say thank you to all of the partners that have made this possible, that have made this happen. As you referenced, Congressman, I have seen cooperation around this effort unlike I have ever seen before. And it is truly humbling, and it is truly a proud moment to be able to say that. And we are so pleased that this is our first, and we look forward to many more to come. And with that, I'd like to introduce someone that's been referenced many times today. I'll try to get his name right as well. Mr. Jim Stritzinger, who by all accounts has been the nucleus of this project. Jim?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is pretty cool. I will echo, pardon me, getting a little emotional. There's been a lot going on. I'm going to echo Dr. Gilmore. I'm a grateful human being today. I got a chance to go to Washington, D.C., a rare invitation for a little guy from South Carolina to pack up his maps in the back of a Prius and drove all the way to D.C. to present to Congress. It was a high honor. And what I'd like to take some time today is to have you see the faces that made this project a reality. And I'd like to tell a little story about how this came to life. And if you'll give me a little bit of space to tell this story and to share a narrative. I'm going to start with a great quote I love. And some of you have heard this before, but Walter Gretzky, the father of Wayne Gretzky, he says, "Son, when you're learning to play hockey, you have to learn to skate to where the puck is going to be." He said, and that's the thing that Wayne attributes his career to, is being able to skate to where the puck was going to be more quickly than anybody else. So a project like this starts with a unique opportunity, but it starts first with trained leaders that are ready to receive the baton and execute when the time presents itself. So I'm going to invite a series of people, and please come to the stage. And I want you to see the faces of the human beings that made this possible. And I'll start with Congressman Clyburn, who invited me to D.C. And I remember I was sitting next to an executive from UCLA, and Congressman Clyburn asked this executive from UCLA, he said, "Would you please work with Jim? I think he's got a big idea to do the best internet maps in the United States." And my friend Brian Darr is here in the crowd. So Brian, come on up. We're going to start with you. And Brian and the team at UCLA they took a huge leap of faith with this crazy guy, Jim, and deposited a lot of data, because one thing we do when we have precious financial resources, we don't want to waste them. We want to execute with precision. So we have to know where to install stuff and where not to install stuff. So Brian, thank you so much for that. That got us started, and my friends from SCASID here, Bernie, Mazik, Kate, Ken, anybody? All right, they're here. Come on up. So this is before the pandemic. The South Carolina Association of Community Economic Development, they had the wisdom to work with me, and they wrote a grant to the U.S. Department of Agriculture to fund the Broadband Community Champion Training Program. So thank you, Bernie. They wrote the grant and got it done. And as we didn't know this, but as things were happening, we launched a training program. And I now need to introduce the Broadband Community Champions that participated in that program from Allendale. So I'm going to start by asking Dr. Gilmore to come up and Dr. Nesmith to come up. Let me see, is Wilbur Cave in the audience? Wilbur's out. Come on up, Wilbur. He's one of them. Ms. Jameson, if you're here. Gail Walsh, Henry Yeomans. You can see what's happening, everybody. This is not something Jim did. You can see the leaders that made this stuff happen. So just to give you a sense of the timeline, they completed their broadband training class. They listened to me for 6 hours on 3 separate days, and on July 23rd, 2020, we had this collection of trained, awesome leaders that know how to do broadband in Allendale County. So, yes, please, thank you. So now, Danny Black. Danny, come on up.
We're here.
All right. So Danny's here. So Southern Carolina Alliance and Peggy and Maceo and South Carolina Department of Commerce, the rural team, come on up. There they go. So they invited me on June 23rd last year. We had a little powwow in downtown Columbia, and they said, Jim, you think you can do something with internet in Allendale? I go, yeah, I think we can do something. And so then, now that we have all these trained leaders in place, you see how Wayne Gretzky comes through, skate to where the puck is going to be? So I got a phone call from my friend Nanette. This happened on November 3rd, Election Day. I'll never forget it. The day that changed my life. She says, Jim, we got a little bit of extra money in this CARES Act funding. If you could do anything you wanted to do, what would it be? And I go, we're going to put some internet in Allendale County. Right? And, but let me remind you what the date is. This is November 3rd. And she took a few weeks to think about it. She wasn't really sure of my idea. But she called me on November 16th. And this is kind of funny, too, because I remember looking over my wife, Laura. I said, you're not going to believe the phone call I just got. Thanks, Laura. So Nanette called me and said, Jim, your wish has been approved. Now you got to get it done. So thank you, Nanette, for giving us a little bit of funding to do a pilot project. And that was very courageous, because what we're doing, we're using state-of-the-art technology that's never been done before in the state of South Carolina or for many places in the U.S. So it was a courageous risk to use state money to do this project. But thanks for doing it. So let me keep on going. So the next phone call I made was to a great friend and a company called PRTC. Some of you know this fabulous Palmetto Rural Telephone Co-op in Walterboro, South Carolina. So the PRTC team, please come on up if you will. And I asked, thankfully the CEO Jason and Tony and all my friends at PRTC, I said, we think you guys have a little bit of fiber here in Allendale that we might be able to use to build a really cool project. And it took them about 2 seconds, and they said, we're in, we're helping. If it's for Allendale, no problem. We're in, all in. And then I called my good friend at Dominion Energy, Iris Griffin, and I said, Iris, I need a little bit of help. We need some electric power. These towers back here don't have any electricity. And I said, Iris, can you get any help from Dominion Energy? And of course, man, they showed up in force. So if it was for Allendale, we'll get it done. So I see Adam back there. So Adam DeLoach, come on up. Bill Hager, come on up. They showed up big time. And of course, I'm getting pretty overwhelmed right now, and I knew I needed some good friends on the team. So I asked Yvonne Rogers from Clear Technologies to help me out on project management on this massive project. And I was really lucky, too. I have 2 super smart brothers that I was able to press into service. You'll be happy about that. You know how to bring the family in there. And by the way, I'm grateful to Congressman's daughter. She's been a huge friend, Mignon Clyburn. And I got to bring my brother Bill in from Raleigh, who's an expert on setting all this stuff up. And I said, Bill, I got to introduce him to Dr. Gilmore one day. And I said, Bill, I need some help. He says, if it's for Allendale, I'm all in. So we worked all Christmas on this. My super good friend, Matt Bellius, the new president of Revolution D. Matt, come on up. Matt's been a huge asset, and we've been working on this together. Valet Technologies, I want to bring them up. We've been installing everything, conduit, cable, pulling wires, mounting stuff. And then I got to make another phone call to my brother Dave at Linksys in Los Angeles. And I said, Dave, we need some real horsepower from the West Coast. So Allie, our folks from Linksys are here. Please come on up and represent. Allie Reyes, whole set of people. And by the way, all of this is happening with November Thanksgiving holidays approaching. And I'm getting pretty nervous. And we didn't have any construction drawings yet. So I called another friend. He'd never met me face to face. Is Stephen Smith here from McCall Thomas Engineering? Stephen, I hope you are. Come on up, please. So I said, Stephen, we really have to get some drawings done, or this project's going to die pretty fast. So he came through and hand-delivered them so we could get this project going. And miracle upon miracle continued to happen. Smiley Electrical Contractors. Can you believe this? They said to me, Jim, if we don't start this project on Friday and finish by Sunday, we can't get it done because it's Christmas coming up. So Trey Smiley, if he's here, Smiley Electrical, I want to say special thanks. They worked all weekend because it was Allendale, because it was for your kids, to get this project done. We had it done on Sunday at 5 o'clock. They started Friday and had it done on Sunday. And the miracles keep happening. The town of Allendale came through. We needed a building permit. You know how building permits go. Those of you that have done construction before, you don't have a building permit, nothing's happening. Town of Allendale came through. We had a building permit same day. If Henry's here, please come on up. Henry made that happen. USC-Salkehatchie came through. Thanks, Dr. Nesmith, absolutely, but we still had Jessica All and Hannah Hightower and Gail and everybody else. So please come on up, those of you that are part of the project team. Allendale County School District began adding people to it. So we had Fatish Graham, Public Relations, all sorts of people just lending muscle to this. This is over the Christmas holiday, y'all. We're making this happen. I asked Brian for a little more help, and they came through with some data. So we had a special data project because last thing I want to tell Congressman Clyburn is that we put something up in his district, and it wasn't performing. So we have data and surety to make sure it's working for your residents. It gets even better. The folks at Linksys introduced me to great folks at Siklu that do wireless backhaul, and they actually donated some some equipment to that tower so that we can communicate wirelessly using 5G technology, millimeter wave technology, so we can have high-speed, free Wi-Fi for residents at the library. So I'm going to show you all that later after we're done. So Lisa Lintner at the Allendale Hampton Library. Come on up, Lisa, if you're here. We're really happy. The folks at Immedion, this is stuff you don't see, but all of this stuff on the tower has to talk to a data center. So we needed a data center, and our folks at Immedion came through and set up the data center. And then I realized on Friday afternoon, I remember this, 3:58 p.m. on December 4th, clock's ticking, and I didn't have a building permit to build on the Allendale High School campus. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I put in a panic distress call to Department of Education, and I asked Betsy Carpenter, my good friend, who introduced me to Jasmine, and Jasmine came through. So Jasmine, come up and join. And anybody else from Department of Ed that's here that came through with that, Virgie, and thank you so much. That was miraculous. Summer Ramsey Dixon, we had expert videographer along for this whole trip. I can't wait to show you all the video when we get that done. Go-to team, we had a team, a videographer donated all of their time. We had an expert videographer along for this whole project. We have all of the construction footage. South Carolina Department on Aging joined because we found out we can connect the senior center to this new network we just built. So Department of Aging, come on up and join the faces here. You're seeing what happens when you get great people together. And then I'm going to cap it off with my new team at ORS, and I joined Nanette and everybody here, all the staff at ORS, just kind of wave. I mean, they adopted me into the family. I'm the new guy, asking them to pull off miracles here and get you all together, and I'm incredibly grateful. So you can see this was not a gym project. This was quite a collection of human beings, and I'll ask you all to give them a standing ovation. Yay! So let me tell you a little bit about the technology now that you've introduced the team and some things you can learn about while you're here. We did two things for Allendale County. One is we provided free public Wi-Fi, and you all may have noticed on your phones you can connect to Uptown Allendale while you're here in this parking lot. There's two other places you can do it, at the library downtown and also at the Allendale High School football stadium. You can get Uptown Allendale on your phone. The second thing we did is up high on the towers, we've installed the first private LTE network in the state of South Carolina. Compliments to our friends at ETV that we have had an amazing strategic relationship to redeploy and reutilize these beautiful state assets and really put them into fabulous production. So we're grateful for all of the support of ETV along the way. And I should have an incredible debt of thanks to all the ETV staff, especially the tower crew. You should have seen those guys climbing that tower, mounting the equipment up there. And is anybody on the tower engineering team from ETV? Please join. Come on up for that. And I'm going to wrap up real quickly, and I'm just going to say there's some tables here. I want to point out our friends at Santee Cooper. Please visit their table. They're now showing off their fiber assets that can be used to lift up the state. I want you to meet my good friend Brian while he's here, and I'd like you to learn how to run a speed test if you haven't done that already. And we're going to wrap here. Special thanks to ETV for all the live stream stuff. It's been great to bring everybody in. And if you're really curious about the technology, we will absolutely have engineering kind of briefing underneath the tower. If you want to kind of get nerdy and learn a little more, we'll be happy to do that for you. But thanks, everybody. Congressman Clyburn, everybody, thanks for the support. And it's a real honor. Thank you. Hooray, yeah. You're welcome.
He's the guy that made it happen. Please thank him if you get a chance to walk up. Media, the congressman has agreed to stay around for a little bit longer. If you want to talk to him over to the left-hand side here, please do so. Dr. Gilmore, we almost finished right on time. Thanks to Allendale Fairfax students and especially the cheerleaders. And Junior ROTC, fantastic job. We appreciate all of you taking time off to be here today. And to our lovely guests, it's a wrap. Let's get going. Thank y'all.